This week, we've seen villainous daydreams, woodland spellcasters, and an assassin's bachelorette party. Let's dive right into what's on the pull list. This week, we're going to start with Absolute Batman number 11, written by Scott Snyder with artwork by Clay Mann. So, you think the Absolute universe is dark? Try living in Alfred Pennyworth's brain. The whole premise of this story is Alfred basically narrating what the world could look like if Bane gets his way and absolutely does the worst possible things to Bruce. And that's exactly what we get. It's a weird juxtaposition, though, seeing Clay Mann's artwork as opposed to Nick Dragata, because I feel like the big bombastic nature of Scott Snyder's story is still there, but Clay Mann's artwork is so much more traditional that it feels like it's a little bit something that is lost here without having that kind of manga influenced artwork that we see with Dragota. I kind of wanted to see that a little bit more. Other than that, though, it was a really sound story. I think that there was some like really truly terrifying things that happen, and I like the way that it pulls the rug out from underneath you. The story is effective. It's starting to still continue to kind of get its hooks in me still. It's not my favorite Absolute book, but it's very good, and it does a lot of world building, particularly with the character of the Joker, which is really exciting here. So Absolute Batman was a pretty darn good book. Next up, we have Absolute Flash number 6, written by Jeff Lemire with artwork by Nick Robles. So this issue feels like an issue 2, but I think I just said it's issue number 6. Like, we're taking a lot of time on this slow burn here, but Nick Robles is back. That's a good thing. The bad part about it, though, he doesn't get a lot to work with. I love the rendering that he does on things like the Speed Force and the character of Wally, but there's like none of that to kind of take place here. It's all a background story about how the Rogues Gallery is kind of put together and what their purpose is. And it's a lot of world building for those characters and kind of what purpose they play within this universe. And that's all good, but I'm kind of at a breaking point with Flash. This was a better issue than the previous couple, but we got to have some consistency with it, and we're kind of lacking with that. We got a new premiere issue, so let's go ahead and talk about Black Cat number 1, written by G. Willow Wilson with artwork by Gleb Melnikoff. So I probably would not have jumped on a Black Cat series premiere without the name G. Willow Wilson kind of leading the way. And I'm so glad that I did, because while there are some things in this issue that don't necessarily strike me as a book that I'm going to enjoy, particularly the fourth wall breaking that happens in this, I think that overall it works out pretty well. This is all basically a story about Black Cat trying to get to a safe house, kind of like a day in the life of Black Cat almost. And it works out really well. And I think that G. Willow Wilson does a great job in all of her books, though, particularly talking about characterization. She really nails the character, and it allows you to get into the head of this character and understand their nuance and motivations. She does that spectacularly. It's a pretty good introductory issue. It's not special, right? It's not going to change your life, but if you're a fan of the Spider-Man universe, and particularly Felicia Hardy, I think this is one you should definitely check out. All right, let's talk Department of Truth number 33, written by James Tynan with artwork by Leticia Cardenisi. Why do I have this love-hate relationship with Tynan work? It's like first issues are awesome, second issues let me down, I'm in, I'm out. I can't figure out what it is that makes it either work for me or really not work for me. This issue works for me, though. The whole arc has been really topsy-turvy about my, feelings towards each issue, and I got to say, earlier on in the arc, it didn't work out for me. The end cap and what this whole arc has really been about with the recruitment of this new person for the department really makes me rethink my entire experience, and it kind of makes me enjoy what we've gotten more so than I ever thought that I would. And it's all still under the scope of this new age, like Reddit kind of conceived villain, if you will, or kind of like manifestation into the real world, the Black Hat. We still get some resolution on that, but really that wasn't the real story. It was really about this person becoming a member, or at least getting offered to become part of the Department of Truth. It's kind of a dreary color palette in all of this, which totally makes sense. It's Department of Truth. It's a dreary, dark place that they're all in, it kind of lets the art down a little bit, though. I've seen Leticia Cardenisi's artwork on other books, and I feel like with a stronger or more vibrant color palette, it really makes things pop. Here, with the darkness and the dreariness of everything, it's kind of hard to appreciate the artwork. It was good, but the nature of the story kind of let it down because I really wanted something big and bold. Next up, we have Ghost Pepper number 2, written and drawn by Ludo Lullaby. This was an explainer issue. This was kind of like the exposition dump, and I don't know if it was really done in an effective and entertaining way, or is it at least as much as I really needed or wanted it to be. It's all about like the world that we're left with, and what did Ash do in the past, and how is society maybe believing things one way, whereas things really played out in a much different way. Ludo's artwork is so reminiscent of Joe Mad. It is crazy. He is definitely kind of like the new manifestation of Joe Mad's style of artwork. And I know he's worked previously on Battle Chasers, and I think that they did artwork previously in the Battle Chasers video game as well. And it just makes perfect sense. It fits the type of book that this is perfectly. I wouldn't have any other artist doing this type of book basically. What we end up with is a pretty cool lead up to a new adversary that's been part of Ash's past. Ash being kind of like the heroic archetype character that we get, but he's also a reluctant hero, especially at this point, since the world doesn't know anything that he's done in the past. And it's kind of cool. We're building on something. This issue, as a standalone experience, we'll probably look back at in a different light. As of right now, though, it was very, I don't know, by the books. All right, let's talk Imperial number 3, written by Jonathan Hickman with artwork by Federico Vincentini. So, this book started off banging. It was like the opposite of a slow burn kind of book where it was just like event, event, event. Like things were happening page after page for like every page up until the introductory, the credits page basically. And then everything really bogs down. It was a difficult book, if I'm being completely honest. This was like a book that was trying to be clever for clever's sake, and it felt empty. It felt devoid of anything that was like, I don't know, meaningful and bold. It was just conjecture over the nature of the game that was being played, and who was actually playing the game, and what plays were being made in that game. It was just like it was two people like just pontificating about how clever they are, and how no one will ever guess what they're doing, and all the nature of the things that they're going to be able to do. And it bored me to death. I hate to say that, but it did. Vincentini did really good. I think that the visuals looked great in this, but then again, I think that those first couple pages were definitely swaying my opinion because they were action packed where everything else was conversational. So Imperial kind of sort of is starting to let me down. Speaking of a book that's not letting me down, though, let's talk Invincible Universe Battle Beast number 4, written by Robert Kirkman with artwork by Ryan Otley. This was a really fun issue, and they've all been really fun issues, but now we're 4 issues in, and we're still kind of feeling that same feeling from issue number 1. That's pretty cool. The whole framing device about this is kind of like it's the trickster witch trope. So Battle Beast and his companion go to this planet. They're looking to basically get his companion back onto the throne and let him rule this world. But they come across this person who's trapped in this trap, and the companion convinces Battle Beast, like, you got to do the right thing. You got to set her free. Well, lo and behold, it's almost kind of like the Hansel and Gretel thing. This witch is definitely out to trick them, definitely out to eat them, but things take a turn, and it's kind of funny because Battle Beast is a little bit hilarious, right? He's never scared, and he's more annoyed than anything. He has this reserved annoyance about him that is hilarious in the book. He's just so, like, I don't know, reserved and like a man on a mission that he has no time or no patience for any of this stuff, but he doesn't let it influence the level of anger he has. He saves that for the fight. Kirkman also does a little trick that he likes doing here, the repeating panel trick, where it's the same image over and over and over to really drive home the nature of a joke. He kind of plays on the meta, aspect of reading a comic and saving the artist a little bit of time. But, gosh darn it, it still works, man. It still works, and I'm still here for it. So Battle Beast, without a shadow of a doubt, is the most fun book that I read this week. The New Gods number 9 came out, written by Ram V with artwork by Evan Cagle and Simon Parr. Man, so the previous issue, issue number 8, we spent a lot of time with the refugees of New Genesis, breaking bread with the superheroes on Earth, and it was a really slow issue. It was really kind of about resetting and kind of recalibrating, right? Taking a slow breath before things kick off. And things didn't really kick off. Cowboy dude kidnaps a new god, the Nikari are coming. That's it. That's the whole nature of this issue. There's not a lot that happens in here, and it was kind of a disappointment. I feel like we had that slower issue because I was waiting for things to ramp up, and we know we're only going to get 12 issues. This one felt like it was a bit stretched out to me. The art changes were just all right. It's something that I've heralded in previous issues, but this one, this is the first time that it started feeling a little bit jarring. It's not as good as what we've seen previously. Not bad, just not as good. The narrative too is a bit laborious, and this is kind of the critique that I hear a lot from Rom V. I tend to kind of fall on the other side of that, where I really enjoy it. This issue, though, I definitely see the critique. There's a lot of exposition here, and it kind of wanes on me. Wanes on me in the single issue experience, though, is what I really mean. I think that the New Gods in totality has been fantastic. This issue, maybe they needed to, draw this out a little bit. Time will tell on that. It kind of didn't work for me for the single issue experience, though. All right, The Seasons number 7 by Rick Remender with artwork by Paul Azaceta. So while New Gods kind of took slower moments in a couple different issues, the seasons never stops. It's always ramping up. It's this dizzying, disorienting romp every single issue. This one definitely fits that same bill. Azaceta really delivers here and makes you care for the characters. I love how he kind of like renders the emotions of them because you feel it every single panel. Not only that, but the motion that's taking place. Like I said, it's always ramping up and it's always dizzying. It's like this extended chase scene essentially throughout the majority of these 7 issues that we've gotten. And he really does a great job at kind of like conveying that energy. It's not kinetic necessarily, but you kind of feel it, in the, I don't know, the zaniness of everything. It's definitely got like a Tintin sort of feel to it. Winter, the character of Winter here, the cold sister, the thing that she does in this issue totally feels right and feels in character for what we've been delivered here, especially with the emotional attachment that she has to the Sister of Spring. And I don't know, it just kind of works for me in a big bad way. And I'm really excited to see now that Spring is kind of like the solo sister that's left here, and she has a better understanding of the carnival, of her sisters, and even her parents. I really want to see what she does knowing that information. Next up, we have This Ends Tonight, number 2, written by Jerry Duggan with artwork by Jay Lee. So here's that Assassin's Bachelorette party that I was referring to. And I gotta say, this was a much better experience than I had with issue number 1. We're still kind of in the same locale. We're dealing with Las Vegas. We're dealing with zaniness. We're dealing with all of these people having a really great time, albeit some of them happen to be assassins. Now, the nature of the story is very simplistic. Go to location A, say a zingy one liner, do some action, rinse, repeat. That's what we're dealing with here. But Jay Lee's layouts in this issue are way more improved than issue number 1. And it's kind of funny because I feel like he was more experimental in issue number 1, but it didn't quite land. This feels a little bit more traditional, and it definitely works out, I feel like, to the reading experience. This feels like almost like a grindhouse movie, if I'm being honest. I feel like that's the experience we're getting. These are one and done stories. I don't see interconnectivity between issues 1 and 2, and we only have 3 issues to go in this. So it's kind of fun that we get that really concise, clean storyline that comes through here. And it's something that you don't need to think too deeply on. It's just there to have a good time. It's that grindhouse aesthetic, and it kind of works here. It's not great, but it was fun, and I'll give it that. All right, let's talk Ultimate Black Panther number 19, written by Brian Hill with artwork by Carlos Nito. So, yes, we may be 19 issues in to this series, but I gotta say, at the very least, this issue really finally tells the whole story behind everything that we're dealt with. Everything in Wakanda, the vibranium, the dark vibranium, the traitor, why Khonshu and Ra want the dark vibranium. It all is spelled out here. It all makes sense. Everything now is on the table, and now we get to see how T'Challa and Killmonger and the Moon Knight, how everyone deals with all of this information here. On top of that, we have our new antagonist, the progenitor, and is just like he's a brutal force here. And T'Challa is just flat out not ready. There's no way he's ready, especially not having vibranium to power him. At least he's not ready yet. Killmonger brings down the hammer on Moon Knight, and that's probably the coolest moment in this book here. He is a little bit ruthless. He definitely would break most international laws here when it comes to negotiating or interrogating a prisoner. But, you know, it's a comic book, and also, come on, we kind of know that that happens anyway. It's really cool the way that things are playing out here. Is this series a slow burn? Yes. Is it equally worthwhile if you've stayed along for the ride? Absolutely. Okay, let's talk Wild Animals number 2, written by Ed Brisson with artwork by Andy Kuhn. So, our main character, the child of a police officer who was kind of killed in cold blooded murder, possibly for trying to expose some dirty cops, well, he's kind of out on his own here. He's out on pursuit looking for the people who killed his father. He's trying to get information, but he's getting low on resources. The narrative takes an interesting twist in this issue here, and we may be dealing with a little bit more of an unreliable narrator than we previously thought. There's little clues that were intermixed in here, and we even got a little bit in issue number 1, but I feel like it's driving it home a little bit more with issue number 2. That's really making this an interesting storyline. It's making me wonder, well, are we being delivered an easy story, or is this a little bit more complex, and is there something more to explore here that we're not going to be able to put together until we get a couple more issues down the line? Kuhn keeps giving us these really clean lines for the artwork. I love the rendering on that he's delivering here, but that's not to say that it doesn't deliver also on the grittiness and the texture that you need here. Remember, this character had hot oil thrown on him, and the way that half of his body has been burned and is now healed over, it really drives it home. The color work in combination with that totally works here as well. Wild Animals is kind of sneaky. I feel like it's delivering something pretty cool here that a lot of people aren't talking about. If you haven't picked this issue up, it's only issue number 2. Play catch up. Let me know your thoughts. Next up, we have Wonder Woman number 24, written by Tom King with artwork by Daniel Samperi. All right, Tom, I see what you're doing, and you know what? 2 can play at this game. Here we go. You want to know my thoughts on Wonder Woman? Mouseman knows. Mice have ears. Mouseman knows mice have ears. Mouseman knows mouse have ears. Mouseman knows mice have ears. Mouseman knows Mouseman knows Mouseman knows mice have ears. Mouseman knows mice have ears. The mice have ears. Mouseman knows. Mouseman knows mice have ears. But Daniel Samperi's artwork is crazy good here. And with my runner-up book of the week, let's talk Escape number 1, written by Rick Remender with artwork by Daniel Acuna. So don't let the anthropomorphic aspect of this book fool you. This is a war drama through and through. This is Saving Private Ryan. This is Inglourious Bastards. This does not lean into the nature of them being animals so much as it just kind of plays with it and kind of reconceptualizes things in the war landscape to better fit who they are. But this is a serious war drama, and that's really, really cool. Acuna does some great things here with the outline of characters. He uses a thicker brush stroke to kind of outline them, and it really makes them pop off the page in some of these panels here to really emphasize the action that's taking place. We also get to spend a lot of time with the characters. We get a great characterization for these people that we only get to spend a brief amount of time with, but it really helps us understand the nature of the landscape, the war that is happening here. Kind of like, I don't know why it means so much for them to really be in the place that they are and do the task that is at hand. This is a World War II landscape through and through, and I think that the characters in this book really understand that and know that and take it very seriously. Equally so as a reader, I think that we're meant to take it incredibly seriously, and I think that Rick Remender makes it easy to do that. It's a really entertaining story, and it's a book that we don't get a lot of war stories, I feel like, nowadays. If you're looking for something like that, do not hesitate to pick this up. It is totally worthwhile. While it is a runner-up, this week, it's kind of like a 1A, 1B, man. This definitely could have been top comic. And for my top comic of the week, let's go ahead and talk Batman and Robin Year 1, number 10. Written by Mark Waid with artwork by Chris Samney. This book has always been cinematic and bold in its presentation, and this issue definitely drives that home. It is like storyboarding for a fantastic Batman movie. The story behind this is really kind of like everything closing in on Bruce and Dick, and it's playing from every single angle. Clayface and Two-Face have now teamed up, and they have way more control over the city of Gotham, both from a police aspect and from a crime aspect, than anyone is the wiser to. And now the walls are closing in, and it's making Batman really kind of take consideration over what he is going to do moving forward. The paranoia is at a fever pitch in this issue here. No one knows who to trust. No one knows how many imposters are truly in Gotham. And Batman and Robin are now in a place where there is really only two, maybe three if you include Alfred, people that you can trust here. Everything is closing in on the dynamic duo here from both aspects of their lives. As again, not only have Clayface and Two-Face started to really, make it dangerous to be Batman and Robin, but now knowing what Two-Face knows, or at least has an idea about, he also knows how to attack Batman from a different aspect. That aspect being Bruce Wayne himself. This was a really great issue to a really great series, and we're getting closer and closer to the end cap on it. This is definitely building to that climax, and it's such a fantastic issue, kind of getting us ready for the final assault, the final battle to happen here. Batman and Robin Year 1 has been stupendous through and through. This issue was definitely worthy of top comic of the week. So that's what I've got for you this week, but I'm more curious. What did you read, and what were your thoughts? Do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe, and be part of the panel. Leave me a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you next week.